Well, good morning, everybody, on the morning of Tuesday, the 11th of August. And there we go, turning 8 o'clock. And in case you haven't seen me before, I'm Dave, Sally's other half. And I'm proudly wearing Philippa's t-shirt that she's created from the illustration from Living for Jesus and Justice. Good morning, Sally. I know you're here because you're in the room, along with our friend Jim. Just wait for one or two other people to join us. Hey, that's great. Morning, Barbara, from the East Ham Posse. And Diamond, I don't know where you are, somewhere in Scotland. Carolyn from Red Warrington. Gray and Claire causing trouble somewhere. Lovely. Well, let's quieten our hearts. And as light breaks, we gather to pause in your presence, God. Alert to your abiding with us and expectant to encounter you afresh in your word and among those we meet today. Perhaps just have a pause and think about the people that you're expecting to see today. So we'll try our body prayer. And it says to stand or to sit with our hands held out in front of us. And imagine that we are cupping the world. We've got the globe in our hands. And we feel the weight of our world. And then we imagine our own communities in our hands and we feel the weight of our communities. The beauty of the places that we live and the pain in our places. And in our particular neighbourhood. The area where our roots go really deep. And then if you're standing, it says to lean forward till you almost lose your balance and have to step out in order to stay upright. And then it says to raise one arm in a fist gesture and cry out for justice. And thank God that Jesus brings justice. And then open that hand. This is just like the cover of our book, Living for Jesus, just Jesus and Justice. The fist of justice of Jesus and the open hand with the scars. And thank Jesus that God is at work in redemptive love in our world and our communities. And then take that hand and lead it aside. Who is it that God is calling you today to reach out to? Or who is God asking you to allow you to be held by and helped by? I love the old catchphrases are wrong, a slogan of Spurgeon's college. It says tenore tenore, held and being held. So as we picture that God holding us as we hold others, let's move into a period of silence. God, our silence invites you to speak. Our stillness works for you to move. Our steady breath resists the lie that a day is there to be seized. We open our hands to receive this new day from you, gratefully, humbly, expectantly. This one day, just as it is, to live it well, just as we are. We're going to come back together now and we're going to share our community prayer for the morning. Radical Jesus, we meet you in our community today. We are compelled to join you in sitting with people who need a friend, walking with those who struggle, standing in solidarity with those that have been wronged. We yearn for the day when all things are put right, for this is who we are. Give us what we need to live this day well, as justice makes love complete. And so we're moving on to our Beatitude for today, Tuesday's Beatitude, the second one. And our translation says this: now is the time if you're devastated. You will rebuild a world of joy. Now is the time if you're devastated. You will rebuild a world of joy. What a beautiful picture. And then it says, time's up. If you're smirking now, your world will collapse. And I wonder what those verses bring to mind. If you'd like to put any comments in the chat, that would be lovely. been reading about the situation in Gaza, Netanyahu rejecting the American redevelopment proposals there, but just reading this morning that by April next year, 70,000 children will be severely malnourished as a result of the blockades that are in place there right now. And so in our world, we are watching devastated people, and wouldn't it be amazing to think that actually we could have a Jesus master plan for rebuilding Gaza in joy. It just seems so impossible, doesn't it? But that is what we are called to live for. And isn't it terrible when we see on the telly pictures of Putin, Netanyahu, Trump smirking? And it's great to remind ourselves that actually, although they appear to be in power now, that world will collapse. Yeah, thanks, Claire. I know that's really on your heart, rebuilding a world of joy in Gaza, isn't it? I'm not sure if I'm actually allowed to do that, but who cares anyway? I'm going to read some other versions of this Beatitude for us this morning. This is the Message, and this one I think really helps to emphasize the point about us being held by God. So you're blessed when you feel you've lost what is most dear to you. Only then can you be embraced by the one most dear to you. So in the midst of our devastation, that is the way we can actually know the embrace of God in a way that we can't in any other way. And here's a good old-fashioned translation. Well, not so old-fashioned. It says, God blesses those who mourn, for they will be comforted. And that struck me personally, especially this morning, because today, the 11th of August, is our youngest granddaughter's birthday. And her name is Oluwaremi, which in Yoruba means God will wipe away our tears, or God will bring us comfort, or has brought us comfort. We rejoice in our Remy because of the comfort she brings to us and our family, the joy. Yeah, thank you, Dave. That picture of that life-giving water bubbling up out of the well, isn't it? That comes from God's Spirit. And here's the Passion Translation. It says, what delight comes to you when you wait upon the Lord? For you will find what you are looking for. And it says that the word for mourning and waiting is actually very similar. And actually mourning and devastation often brings us to waiting on God in a way that we wouldn't do otherwise. Our abbey's being built just at the moment, and it's really exciting to see the brick rows going up row by row. And I was speaking to the chief exec of the building company, and it's been a really difficult time for builders. And for 6 months, he was praying and praying that he wouldn't have to lay people off, and that God would bring work. And there was a really big job that was almost ready to go, and then it fell apart, which meant that things were even more devastating. And then, just in the nick of time, God's provided a whole series of jobs for that company. But he said that because he started to get busy with the building work, his prayer and his calling on God started to tail off as well. And even his quiet times, he gave up at weekends because he didn't need them quite so much. So, yeah, when we wait on the Lord, we can experience that closeness and that comfort that only God can bring. Dave says, how far is the Abbey off completion? Thank you. It's August now. We're hoping to move in at the end of May next year, but we're really excited. They're halfway through the first floor, and we will be living on the second floor. So I'm waiting for them to start to be building building our new home, and then the roof should be on by the middle of November at the latest. So we should see what the actual building will look like then. And then they'll do the fit out over the winter, which is very sensible. So that's really exciting for us. Waiting in expectation. So we'll move on to our waymaker for the day, who was a Baptist. Tony Campolo said that it won't just be Baptist in heaven, but why take the risk? Hugh Stoll Brown, 1823 to 1886, which is a bit scary because I think he's the age of some of us here. He was a Baptist minister at Myrtle Street Chapel, Liverpool, committed to education and justice. He fused Christian teaching with action, offering free lectures, support, and practical aid. We're looking forward, we were saying, to going and doing a Liverpool launch of Living for Jesus and Justice in Toxteth, which unfortunately are most notable for the riots there years ago. But it's lovely to think about going to a place where Hugh Stoll Brown pioneered Living for Jesus and Justice. So we're going to move on to the prayers of solidarity. We gather now to start this day quietly. Our quiet prayer resists the noise around us, holding it back for a while. We gather to start our day together. We've been told to pull away, but we lean in. Now we're going to pause and we're going to name those that we'll share the day with and recognise how we feel about that and pray a blessing on them. So if you'd like to put names in the chat, feel free to, although this is a public channel, so you might want to just use initials. But pray for individuals that your heart goes out to and ask God just to ask you how you feel about that. I pray a special blessing on our Remy on her 7th birthday and our family. It brings me great joy and comfort. And we gather and we remember those who are facing a challenging day today. Loving God, be with them. Help us to be with them and to listen to them, and help us to be ready to be changed. And as we pause now, name those on your mind who are really in need of God's help today. Pray with your visiting in Aberystwyth. And the second Filton trial, the jury didn't sit yesterday, but they might return a verdict today. And we are praying that it would be a verdict that acquits rather than just a hung jury, because of the injustice of our state's charges against those young people. Pray for those 3 young daughters, lost both their mum and dad. And that every day we have the reports of the fighting in Ukraine, and I'd like to pray especially for the really brave Ukrainian Christian brothers and sisters that stayed, and particularly those at the Evangelical Theological Seminary of Ukraine in Kiev. Ivan, Fyodor, Denis, Daniel, and Elena, and pray for their protection and their encouragement as well as they really carry the hopes and the fears of so many people in their country, and pray for peace. As we go back to thinking about holding that world, let's also pray for peace in the various places that are on our hearts. If Ash was here, he'd be saying Myanmar. Where else? Our friend Mehdi has got a really heavy heart for his country of Iran. So we gather now to start our day with hope, because sometimes that's all we have, and that is enough. We gather for those who suffocate at the hands of others, for the earth that burns and boils and wheezes through smoke and embers, for the anxious who forget to breathe. Today you make space and fill the air with oxygen. Maybe just have a big breath in, filling your lungs with the freshness of God's breath. So now root us, God, as witnesses to the light and the hope of your resurrection. Embolden us to live life brightly for you this day. Again, we love that verse. We had it in Red Letter Christians on one of our earliest postcards from the message, saying that we are made to be the God colours of the world. So pray that you would go out and shine brightly today, bringing that comfort to those that God is sending us to, and receiving that comfort and joy in return. So God bless you and have a great day. And we'll leave the comments rolling a little while so that we can pray for our friends. God bless.